Come on, I'm going to teach it tonight because some of you, you're where you're at. It is not a trial. It's because you keep operating in childishness. Now, there is no use in blaming God. There is no use in saying, why is it not working for me? You got to come out of being a child, and it's time to be mature about certain things. And going forward, the one thing that we want to kill is selfishness. We want to kill it because it is a killer of unity. Now, notice what Paul says in 2 Corinthians 4 in verse number 13, because it's powerful. He said, and since we have, notice what Paul said, the same spirit of faith. Now, notice, spirit deals with attitude. When it came to their attitude concerning the faith, Paul recognized that they were united. They were united. Now, again, some folk love to be different just for the sake of being different. But when it comes to a group, especially God's church, we have to learn to operate in sameness. There needs to be things that you see in me as your pastor that you strive to imitate. Yeah, dude. Once you've been around here long enough and once you have heard enough messages, once you have seen the right example, you then need to work on coming into sameness. You need to work on being more like leadership and less like yourself or how you was when you first came. See, bottom line, we got to grow up. See, it's time out for sitting up in the church when we should be mature, yet we're still childish. Because sometimes when you can't move from being immature to being mature, you can suffer because of your childish ways. You can suffer because you won't put away childishness. See, it comes a time in every person's life where they must grow up in order to have certain things. You can't keep damaging yourself, causing self. Come on, I'm going to teach it tonight because some of you, you're where you're at. It is not a trial. It's because you keep operating in childishness. Now, there is no use in blaming God. There is no use in saying, why is it not working for me? You got to come out of being a child, and it's time to be mature about certain things. Listen, whenever God gives you a pattern, he does not give you a pattern for you to just watch the pattern. He gives you the pattern so that you might imitate the pattern. One way you'll know people are truly connected is that they'll not just sit and listen to their pastor, but the more they sit under their pastor, they begin to sound like their pastor. This is important in the church. Because when it comes to some things, like it or not, we can't afford to be different. When it comes to being serious about ministry, we have to be the same. It's not enough to say, well, pastor is serious about ministry, but we don't see it nowhere else. Some say that's division. Are you with me? But thank God in this church, we have those that not only see that pastor's serious about ministry, but they're serious. They're serious. Because if not, this church could not be doing what it's doing except we had people who are serious about ministry. Thank God that we got some deacons that's serious about ministry, who don't just wait to come to church on Sunday and Wednesday, but they will stop by the church on a consistent basis, seeing what needs to be taken care of, coming to the church in order to handle God's business and to see if anything need to be done around the house of God, because you have some mature deacons that are serious when it comes to the business. When it comes to kingdom business, thank God you have some folk in the music ministry that's serious about ministry. Not just playing ministry, not just showing up when it's time for them to sing their song, but showing up with the right attitude, whether they're leading or whether they're background. Come on, why? They're serious about ministry. Thank God you have people who still take it important or deem it important to serve at God's door and to keep order in the church. So folk are serious about ministry, and we have good ushers here to Place of Refuge, because when it comes to sameness, we have folk that's serious about ministry. Thank God that we have people that when it comes to giving, they understand the necessity of giving. And they freely give. I mean, generously give, because they're on one accord with where leadership is taking the church. It's time out for some of us lacking or being broke, yet you're bumping your gums about giving when giving is your way out. Come on and unite. Come on and be the same. You have to have sameness, listen, to produce results. I don't want to be a part of anything that is not producing. Got to have ministers that are not just concerned with themselves, but ministers who understand that they're going to go through trials, but they understand that they have been given an assignment to bear the burdens of the people and to pray for the people. But how can you pray somebody else through when you can't pray yourself through simple trials? We need sameness. We need sameness. Families. It's time for sameness to take place within our homes, so that what God desired to do, it can get done, because many of you are behind schedule because of division. What is looking for is sameness, because sameness is what he blesses. Sameness is what he'll empower. Sameness is what he will put his word behind and cause his word to come to pass. That's the reason I love being united or being on one accord, because I know it is the easiest way to be blessed is when we come together. When we unite, we are stronger united than we are divided. And that's a word for families. That's a word for auxiliaries. That's a word for refuge in Noonan. It is time for sameness. 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Notice what Paul said. Examine yourselves as to whether you are in the faith. 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Paul tells the church, examine yourselves as to whether you are in the faith. Test yourselves. Do you not know yourself that Christ is in you? Watch this. Unless indeed you are disqualified. See, when it comes to being in the faith and being the same, before we can judge whether we are the same, we have to examine ourselves. Can I break it down? If you're going to say we the same, before you say we are the same, examine how you talk. Examine who you hang with. Examine what you are doing that's causing division rather than uniting the house. Examine yourself. Even when it comes to our homes, we have got to examine ourselves this year. Are you willing to change? How many recognize God will help you with the process of changing, but you have to see the necessity of where you are delaying blessings. Some of us argue with folk just to argue. Tell somebody that day has passed already. Some of us keep up mess just to keep it up. That day has passed already. And God is calling for sameness. Time out for begging folk to love God and to do right by God. Time out for that. Some of us, we need to come on, or we are going to get left behind. And God has never been in the business of begging folk to serve him, begging people to love him, begging people to do right by him. God will replace every one of us before he belittles himself to beg you to do what he has chosen for you to do. I told you it's going to get a little tight tonight now. But we have to examine ourselves. Notice what he said, in the faith. Some of you need to examine yourself tonight because you're quick to say you're a Christian, but are you really? Well, I know I believe. Do you really? See if you are truly in the faith. Because in the modern day church, preachers more so desire to make folk feel comfortable rather than really giving them the word. Can I be honest with you? In the day and age we live in, it's going to take something to be a real Christian. Do you hear me? It's going to take something to keep yourself pure. It's going to take something to keep yourself unspotted. It's going to take something to keep yourself unblemished. It's going to take something when folks are talking trash and you don't want that in your mind. It's going to take something to separate yourself from certain people. It's going to take something if you truly going to fulfill that calling that God has upon your life. You have to get serious in examining yourself. Let me show you how serious it is. Notice 1 Timothy. Notice 1 Timothy.